What's up, guys? It's Susie G. We are here in Venice with Brandon Jamar. What's going on?
What's up, guys?
Your hometown?
Venice has always kind of basically been my backyard. So this is nice. It's a different feel. Ever since COVID, it's been really quiet around here.
Yeah, I feel like today was the first time I've actually been able to go out and shoot hoops. We just did a little game of course. I'm a little rusty to say the least, but it feels good. Something about like living in Venice, it feels like home. The courts here feel like home every time I pass them on a run or a walk. So it's been hard because you really all summer you're playing in like the EPL and the Drew League. So how has that transition been for you, kind of not being here all summer?
For some of us, basketball is kind of all we have in the off season. For guys who don't come home and work jobs, or just don't, or come home and some of us play video games. Some of us just have other hobbies. For those of us who only have basketball as a hobby, when stuff like this is taken away from us, it kind of puts us in I guess I would say a flight scenario. Like, do we sit here and kind of just wallow, or do we stress out? I mean, obviously it hits for some of us. When I came home, from Germany, there was nothing to do. Like, you come home after a full season, you don't think it's going to be that bad. You think, people are going to take the necessary precautions, and that's not what happened. All of us who came back home, our seasons were ended early. We had to leave abruptly from whatever country me and a bunch of friends were in, and we come home to nothing. Come home to dead silence. No workouts, can't go see our trainers, can't even go see friends to check in on others. Like, it's been a very weird transition, I think.
And I think for a lot of people, we all know being a pro athlete here in the States, but talk about your experience overseas. You were in Germany, you've been in China. So, that's an experience that a lot of players say is just incredible because you get to travel, you get to see different countries. And so, what is the difference being there versus being here?
I think being in China, I got a chance to have my first overseas experience. It's different. China, I think there's a bigger celebrity aspect when Americans are there. They don't see us often, so when they're there, basketball, it's like how we treat it here, but it's just on a whole nother level. You have people asking to take pictures, and the degree of personal space is a little different. I think in Europe, because they get so many people, so many Americans that play there so often throughout the year, they treat us like regular people. The personal day-to-day aspect is so much different in another country versus here. Over in Europe, when I went to Germany, people will say hi. People will say good morning. People will ask you how your day doing. Random people that don't even know you. Here in LA, that does not happen.
Although the Venice League squad over there knows you pretty well. They're happy that you're back.
Yeah, the people in Venice are a little different. They're more, hi, how are you? Because it's a really tight-knit community, whether you know someone or not, or if someone sees you in passing, as we saw this morning.
Like, what's like something like the food or the culture,
Definitely
something that you really love from there?
Definitely the food. The food was awesome.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing?
I had a lot of schnitzel and potatoes. Like almost like probably every other day. And even the culture, just being able to go explore different places and just be somewhere that's not home.
Right.
It's always an opportunity. Even if I'm home and I get to go to Santa Barbara or something, it's a place I've never been. It's a place I don't get to go often. So when I go, I try to soak up as much of the culture as possible. It's awesome. Just it's a different life.
And you're able to do some runs right now at the gym.
Yes.
So who's there? What are you guys doing? How are you working out and training so that when you do go back, you're kind of ready to play?
I'm definitely thankful for Meta. Meta has had a couple of setups for private runs, invite-only invitation, and it gives us guys who are trying to get ready to go back overseas a chance to get some extra cardio, get back in shape. There are other private runs like popping up all over the city. Even though we're not supposed to be there, it's still something to have. And all of us are doing our best to abide by the safety precautions and just try to be as safe as possible. But it's something we need because we know what can happen if we go back overseas and we're not ready. We can get sit back home. So imagine having to sit for 2 months with no type of training, or if you don't have the connections to get into a gym or go to a run. You go overseas, you're out of shape, you get sent back home to this. It'll stress anybody out, and none of us want that.
Yeah, and you're also very vocal on your Instagram. I love watching it. I mean, from posting TikToks and stories, but what's something right now that's just really, that you feel really passionate about with everything that is going on?
I think in the process of being over in Germany, just talking, just seeing So a lot of people like they don't just work. You have people who work, but they're also photographers, or they also run their own little coffee shops, or like they're creatives. And it kind of just put me in a position that I'm working on a clothing brand right now, very very small, but just something in the works. It's something that I know can transition me outside of basketball, but can also keep me tethered to the sport as well.
Right.
So. Yeah, I think that's something. It's something I definitely want to dive into. I've seen so many friends over the span of this year start their own clothing brands and their own, I guess you would call it just style or their own wave, and it's something that I'm glad to see. So I think being able to step into that light, just hopefully being successful at it, is what I'm passionate about the most.
And I think what people can take from you, which I love, is not only do you play basketball, but you're a photographer, you're very into fashion, you're creative, and I love that other side about you because there's a whole other passion that you have besides just the game of basketball that you're always working and creating, and that's really fun for me to watch.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like a lot of people don't get basketball, like sports come to an end. It takes one bad injury or one bad situation to just end it all. And obviously no one wants that, but some things, we've seen so many freak accidents in the NBA, from Gordon Hayward to Paul George to Derrick Rose to Blake Griffin to just recently Damian Lillard, and Luka, a severe ankle sprain. You have no idea what can happen at any given time. So I think preparing yourself for life after basketball early on in your career, I think, can help you get a better handle on it when, in some situations where you're blessed enough to have the choice to say, okay, I'm done. Because some of us don't get that choice.
Right. So you do have to think about that and what's your future. But have you thought about a name for your clothing brand?
The name I think I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to call it Band of Natives. It's it's just something that gives just, I guess, kind of how I grew up. There's a very native, enclosure, family-esque vibe about growing up here. There's people you see that may see you all the time that you may never come across a day in your life, but they know who you are, they've seen you, they congratulate you when they see you, and it's just a different level of camaraderie from strangers here that I don't really think you'll find anywhere else in the States.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually a great name. And again, it's so nice to be here doing this in Venice.
Yeah.
I've been here for almost 14 years. I don't even know how we met. I think through social media.
Probably,
and you're like,
yes.
yo, are you in Venice? I'm like, I am. I'm home. And it's just kind of, again, just a nice way to meet people that are right here in your community.
No, absolutely. That's what I think. That's why we kind of have one of the best communities. We might have one of the best personal stranger communities in probably all of the 50 states.
I mean, I miss my Sundays. I would go on my run and then I would just stop at the courts.
Right.
Because there was always something going on, whether it was like a tournament or
even on days you don't play. You can just, even on days I wasn't playing, I could just sit here and just watch people that I know or people that I played against when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Who see me growing up now. It's just, it's different. But it's nice because a lot of places you can't go do that. Maybe in New York, maybe the Rucker probably had that same feel, but there's nothing like Venice.
You stop and you're like, basketball courts and palm trees. I'm
Right.
like, what gets better than that? And then an ocean view.
Yeah, you can't.
It's
you
just,
can't
it's
beat
a
that.
special place, and I just think it was nice today, just being able to shoot hoops with you and just seeing again people coming up that recognize you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back from Europe, and it's just,
Right.
they're all community.
Well, you see the community come together and broke the barriers off the rim. You're not gonna get that a whole lot of places.
We have one rim.
Yeah, that's how much of an impact basketball, I think, in the last decade to probably the last century has had on places like this. You see people who just love it so much, and that's kind of like what it's all that they have. They'll do anything to get it back. And when you love the game that much, that's something you can't argue.
I'm so glad we did this
Absolutely,
today.
definitely.
It's been so fun getting to know you just like the past couple months.
Absolutely.
And tell us where we can find you on the IG, because I love your Instagram name.
The IG handle, don't laugh, it is definitely a disclaimer. Lazy but _talented. 33.
One of my faves.
It sticks.
It totally does.
Sticks.
Once again, guys, it's Susie G. We are here in Venice, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Later, guys.